Hi there, welcome to Pleasure Pathways, your go-to destination for empowering, informative, and fun content on sexual wellness and intimacy. Whether you're looking for expert tips, personal insights, or product reviews, we've got you covered. I'm your host, Venus O'Hara, and I'll be your guide on this pathway to pleasure. In this episode, we're going to talk about sexual awakenings. Yes, sexual awakenings. This is a topic that really inspires me. But first of all, let's define what is a sexual awakening. Personally, when I think about the word or term sexual awakening, I think about some very significant life event that makes you see sexuality or live your sexuality in a very different way. It could be the first time you even have sex, or perhaps it's the first time you have an orgasm, or maybe it's the first time you make love and have a more sentimental sexual encounter. Or perhaps you completely change your sexuality. Maybe you've been with men all your life and suddenly you try with a woman and it feels like, oh my God. It's not so much about the events that happen, but more about your perception of yourself and your sexuality. Sexual awakening is, I would say, for the most part, for many situations, it's something that's really life-changing, something that changes your whole life. It's a real significant moment in time. Officially speaking, a sexual awakening is an experience that is deeply transformative, that changes your whole perception and understanding about your sexuality. This can lead to increased self-awareness. Perhaps you discover something that you didn't know you enjoyed before. Maybe you experiment with, let's say, BDSM or fetishism or kinky sex, or maybe with a different sexual orientation, and then you're thinking, oh my God, I didn't know this about myself. It could also be an experience that leads to greater confidence, and confidence is always a good thing where sex is concerned, as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to read to you something very, very inspiring that I found in this book, Living an Orgasmic Life, Heal Yourself and Awaken Your Pleasure. This is a fantastic book, and it's by Xanet Pailet. When I saw the title of this book, I thought, oh wow, this looks like an interesting read. It's kind of quite a light book, not too long, but it was actually a lot deeper than I expected. And it's inspiring, but it also talks about blocks to intimacy, things that can be challenging on our journey, on our pathway to pleasure. Let me read to you something that I found incredibly inspiring. This is part of chapter 2. The side title is Living a Life of Lies. What if I told you that no matter your age, the best sex of your life is ahead of you? How would your life be different if you started having the most amazing sex of your life in the months and years ahead? I'm talking about mind-blowing, oh my God, what was that kind of sex? You can have orgasms that make you think you have died and gone to heaven. Orgasms that rock your entire body. Orgasms that you feel from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Orgasms that last not just for minutes, but for hours. Orgasms that make you scream and moan, and that take you out of your body into blissful dimensions previously unknown. This is the potential of your sexuality. So if you are inspired, check out this book. This will definitely help you on your own sexual awakening. When I think about sexual awakening in my own journey, I think about first time discovering, let's say, making love, being with someone whom I had an emotional connection, because that's very different from, let's say, more casual encounters. Also experimenting with new things. That's all I'm going to say, new things. And I also think that discovering sex toys was a type of sexual awakening for me. Before using sex toys, I used to really depend on my partner, which is great to have good sex within a relationship, but what if that's not the right relationship for you? I found that sometimes I was in relationships that were not, let's say, not the healthiest, but then when I discovered sex toys, it was really like, oh wow, I can actually take care of my own needs now, and it really was an awakening moment. This has really inspired my work to be agent of pleasure pathways and really promote pleasure education and teach people about how to use sex toys, recommendations of sex toys. And it's so interesting because over the years, I have received many, many, many messages from many women all over the world telling me, I did what you said, I bought the toy you recommended, and I had my first orgasm. And they are really blown away, just like I read in that chapter. I also recommend toys, and not just the toys themselves, but I've also recommended some techniques as well, because I always say that orgasm is never the objective. It is, I say pleasure is the objective, the pleasure pathways, and orgasm will occur, might occur, most probably will occur as the result of pleasure. And so many times I have given women some tips to follow, such as use this toy, have a bath with some candles, do some self-massage, and create this kind of self-loving ritual, self-seduction ritual, and then use a toy just for, let's say, 15 minutes, not very long, because otherwise you might be there like thinking, oh, when's it going to happen, but just for a few minutes from time to time, just relaxing and starting to enjoy those sensations and really increase your awareness of the reactions in your body. What feels good? Where does it feel good? What pressure? What friction? All of those things can actually, vary according to the moment and your desire. But of course, it's always good to kind of get to know yourself on that level, because it is so important. I think a lot of the times we are just focused on, work and making money and making ends meet, but we have to always take care of our own sexuality as well. That's not just for when you are within a relationship, but also as a personal task to actually really check in with yourself and get to know what feels good, what your desires are. And another thing to do to actually maybe encourage sexual awakening would be to get to know your own erotic desires. And you can do this from, let's say, reading erotic literature, consuming sexual, sex-positive content like this channel, or also just watching, let's say, some documentaries about sexuality as well. Really having this curiosity to find out about pleasure is the part of life that seems to be the most ignored, the part that we learn the least about. All the information is out there. I think we need to have that curiosity to actually find information and explore ourselves, and then we can really tap into our own pleasure pathways. Yeah. Anyway, going back to the women that I have given these tips to. So imagine I've given them tips. I said, get this toy, let's relax, have this self-massage time, also read this book, watch this documentary to kind of get your mind, to engage your erotic mind, because I think your erotic mind is a very important and instrumental tool when we are in the throes of passion, because fantasy is a very key part of a sexual awakening, especially when we are talking about solo sexplorations. And anyway, I remember giving toys away to certain friends, and I've been saying, oh, did you try it? How was it? No. And then one day when I stopped asking, they say, oh my God. And that from that day forward, I see they've had their sexual awakening, and they have this different glow. They walk with more confidence, and they have a spring in their step. And I'm thinking, I help with that. Yes. And this is what really inspires my work, to actually educate people about pleasure, because it's a really important part of life. It's not only something that we enjoy in private, but it's also something that affects other areas of our lives, our emotional lives, our relationships, how we get out of bed in the morning, how we walk down the street, the smiles on our faces. Yeah. Anyway, I would like to share some affirmations with you for sexual awakenings. I just think it's really important to actually, tap into your body, tap into your mind, take a deep breath, and let's listen to these affirmations together that can really help you on your own journey, on your own pleasure pathway. Affirmations are powerful statements that can help to reprogram your mind, because it all starts within. And I believe that our brains are our biggest sexual organs. So get comfortable, take a deep breath, and relax, and listen to these words. I fully embrace my sexuality as a natural and beautiful part of me. I am confident, sensual, and I deserve pleasure. My desires are valid, and I honor them without shame. I radiate sexual confidence, and I embrace my true self. I allow myself to experience deep connection and pleasure. I welcome intimacy into my life. I trust my body and I listen to its desires. I release past shame about my body or sexuality. I release guilt about my sexuality. I am free to explore my desires with an open heart and an open mind. I honor my boundaries and I communicate them with ease. My sexual energy is powerful. I am a radiant, magnetic, and sensual being. My sexual energy fuels my creativity. My sexual energy fuels my confidence. I allow myself to feel fully awakened, sensual, and I allow myself to feel pleasure. If you'd like to share your sexual awakening story with us, leave a comment below. And that's all for this episode. Thanks for watching Pleasure Pathways. You can find our products on the Tracy's Dog website, tracysdog.com, or on Amazon. And on the Tracy's Dog website, you can use the code VENUS for a 15% discount. And don't forget to check out our blog for more in-depth articles. And follow us on Spotify for the latest podcasts. Thanks for watching. See you soon on Pleasure Pathways.